Guys, Flame here, and today we're going to be doing another Deepwoken video, and today we're going to be talking about what I think, actually not what I think, what is the best PvE enchant in the game of Deepwoken, and you're not even using it. Why? Why aren't you using it? It literally does so much damage, and because you're not using it, I had to make this video so you can actually get put on game. Because trust me, once you figure out what this enchant is and actually start using it, you're gonna fall in love, just like I did all those months ago. You see, when layer 2 first dropped, this became my favorite enchant instantly. It's been my favorite enchant, you can ask any of my friends, since layer 2 came out. And usually I've been trying to make PvP builds for it, where it's still good, but it's a lot more niche and hard to use in PvP. But once I started using it in a PvE setting, I quickly realized how busted it is. Now, I'm just surprised nobody else has really gone over it. Like, there's definitely PvE communities and people that are hardcore in that space that know about the power of this enchant in PvE, but there's no like popular videos or mainstream things saying how good this is in PvE. It's very, very underrated, and it's been very, very underrated and looked down upon as a bad enchant since it was released, with it just now becoming somewhat popular in PvP. Like, it was already popular for a certain build in PvP, but now it's overall starting to get more and more recognized. I can tell through the passing weeks I've seen more and more build videos with it, but they're all focused on PvP, and I'm wondering why. Because while it is strong and fun to use in PvP, this is literally the best PvE enchant in the entire game. Now, there is one or two situations where it's not the best PvE enchant in the game, and we'll go over those shortly. Now, you might be wondering, what enchant is this? What enchant could this be? And no, it's not Astral. No, it's not Heroism. And no, it's not even Chilling. The enchant we're going to be covering today is Tears of Edenkite. Now, if you don't know what Tears of Edenkite does, basically every single time you flourish, you spawn in a barrage of bubbles, and they will heat sink whatever you flourished. Now, these bubbles, when they come in contact with your target, they detonate instantly, and they do a crap ton of damage. For example, I made a build video the other day, a PvE build I might add, but still, it's still using the enchant. I made a build, a Fist Edenkite build, which happens to be my favorite type of playstyle in this game, but that's besides the point. That build in PvP, it has a combo that usually lands about half the bubbles. Instant, like guaranteed, if I land the combo, it will land about half the bubbles. And yeah, it does have damage multipliers, and yeah, it does have a finisher's ring, but still, even with all that, half the bubbles landing, and it's doing about half a bar. Not half a bar. It's doing a full bar in PvP. Now imagine that damage, but all the bubbles hit. Oh my! Now we're looking at 2 bars of damage. Wait, and now just fathom that, but with PvE scaling, because we all know when you're fighting in PvE, your damage is scaled up exponentially. Now, each barrage of bubbles is doing extreme amounts of damage, and that's why it's the best PvE enchant in the game, because against any boss fight, like think about it, against Itheron, against Chaser, against Duke, against Primadon, you're gonna be able to flourish over and over and over and over, and every single time you flourish, you're spawning more bubbles, and you're just gonna be spawning them and constantly doing massive damage to the boss. So that's why, no matter what build you're using, this is the best boss fighting enchant in the entire game, no question. Now, it's also really good in normal play, like against normal mobs, when you're using a normal build. If you're using a normal build, or if you're using medium weapon or light weapon especially, it's going to be really good in normal gameplay, because you're going to be able to flourish against most monsters before you kill them, and then the bubbles will just, actually help. And even landing 1 or 2 bubble procs is already going to outclass all the other damage enchants. Now, the situations where this enchant is not going to be the best in PvE is when you have a PvE build inside of normal situations. Like if you have an Evan Spear or a Hive Lord Hubris build for PvE, all those damage multipliers doing crazy amounts of damage, and you're fighting against normal monsters like Sharkos and the stuff you'd see in Hell mode, then you're already 1 to 2 shotting, maybe 3 shotting every single monster you come in contact with, and 1 shotting most humanoid NPCs, meaning you're not really gonna flourish, and you don't ever need the bubbles. You're never gonna proc the bubbles. You don't even need that much damage. So in that situation, chilling is still going to be the best enchant in the game, because you can just get a constant damage buff that will just help you with normal mobs. And that's why I think if you want to make the best PvE build, you need to have 2 Evan Spears, 2 Hive Lord Hubris's, whatever you're using, have 2 of them. 1 with chilling and 1 with Tears of Eden Kite. Now, whenever you're against a boss fight or something tanky enough to get hit by flourishes, for example like Bone Keeper, switch to Eden Kite, because those bubbles, even 1 or 2 procs, is going to be better than all the other enchants because of the amount of damage you're doing. And against bosses especially, you're going to be proccing it over and over again. It's crazy. And when you fight normal enemies, just switch back to chilling, because that will be more helpful in those situations. Now, if you have a normal build or a PvP build, then Eden Kite might be just the best enchant for PvE all around, but you'll have to do that testing yourself, seeing if you'll actually get the bubbles to proc against normal enemies or if it's not worth it against them. But it's still going to be the best enchant in the game for you against all bosses. And just so you know, if you want to make its damage even better and make it scale even harder, make it do a lot more damage, make sure if you're using this enchant that you are using things like not Dazing Finisher, that's for PvP. What I meant to say is make sure you're using things like Finisher's Ring. So still get all those damage multipliers like your PvE builds already get, you know, do the crazy damage. But make sure one of the rings you're using is a Finisher's Ring, because the Finisher's Ring affects the bubbles, and that's actually really strong. So make sure if you're using this enchant that you use a Finisher's Ring. Also, I almost forgot, but this enchant also has a weird interaction when you're in layer 1, you know, the normal depths, the one with the elevator to get to the overworld. Basically, when you're in here, you're underwater, so the bubbles don't actually track. They do track in layer 2, but in layer 1, they don't track. They go straight up. So if they go straight up and don't hit anything, they're just gonna go straight up and just blow up in the sky and not do anything. But you can still make it work in layer 1, but you have to like stand really close to whatever you're fighting, or like basically under it. So like if you go under the monster or really close to them, the bubbles will go up and they'll go up into the monster and still detonate and do crazy damage. But really that's not that practical, just because it'd be easier just to use chilling. So if you want to switch enchants in layer 1, that totally makes sense. Alright, that's really all I wanted to do, was let you guys know how strong this enchant was in PvE. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.